Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back to talk more comics. And of course, it's comic book day. So we're going to be talking about House of X number 6, the final issue of House of X. But before we get into that, I just want to say a few things. I want to thank everybody that has found my channel through my comics reviews. I do a lot more than comic reviews. But whenever I am down, whenever I don't feel good about my channel or what I do, my comic reviews always bring out the passionate side of me. And I want to thank everybody that has found this channel through my reviews. I also want to thank a couple of people who have been really inspiring to me with my comic reviews lately that I've been following. One more recent than the other. I want to thank Wildebeard Reviews. I've been following you more recently. I want to thank you because your reviews I really enjoy your stuff, man. And I also want to thank Thinking Critical a lot. His comic book channel has been inspiring to me to get better and learn more about comics. That I've been reading comics since like 1989, but I took a long break and didn't come back. And I was aware of what some things that were going on in comics, but I didn't come back to comics to buy and collect and get into really since 2016 is when I started back up. And I realized that there's a lot I don't know anymore, and that a lot of the things have happened in the industry and all that, and Thinking Critical has brought a lot of things to my attention, things that I didn't know before, because I was in such a comic book drought. I was so ready to be back into comics that I was reading a lot, and it took me a long time to realize that some of the stuff I was reading wasn't very good. And I know that you like what you like, right? But it's like how I was when I first really got into movies and TV, and like really started thinking about what makes a good movie, what makes a good TV show, that kind of thing. It took me years to develop and hone my opinion and of the style that I like and the movies that I like. And the same thing is true for comics. And yeah, so thank you very much, Wes over at Thinking Critical, so much for and all the people that you talk to on your channel that have really made me come back to comic book reviews that I've been meaning to get back to for so long. And where comic books are, there's a lot of people that review comic books, but it still feels like it's a small community. And I really think that, the more people that engage with each other about comics, the stronger we can make them in the end. I don't think that the comic industry has to, completely fall apart as some of these, some very dire things that are about the industry lately. But I'm not going to get into that. I don't want to get into all that. We're here to talk about House of X. So again, thank you so much, everybody that's subscribed, commented, liked the videos, all that. I really appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving me lately on these, because I really have been needing it. And so yeah, like you can see behind me, House of X number 6. This is my copy that I've been reading, the one that we'll be going through as we talk about. I want to talk about I got all the variants this time. Continuing with my love of Gambit. I got the action figure one. I got the character Decades variant with Nightcrawler. Just these covers, and I got the connecting variant, which is, again, these connecting variants have been really, really cool. Really, really cool. I got the next one coming next week for Powers of 10, number 6. We got, I think I'll save that one for last. Then we got the other Huddleston, I believe this is the Huddleston variant of Magneto, which is pretty dope. We've got the Pacelli flower variant with Apocalypse, which I just freaking love what they're doing with Apocalypse right now. And then we got the Scotty Young one. I'm sorry, but I like Scotty Young. I just like that it's not so serious and silly. I love that about the Bone Claw Wolverine. Like, we didn't really want to bring that version back or have a backup of him. But then there's the foreshadowing one. I didn't know what the foreshadowing one was going to look like, and it's I'm very pleased to see that for foreshadowing we got Omega Red one of my favorite characters that they created in the 90s. Coming through Krakoa, will he be a hero or a villain? Now, like I've said, if you read Weapon X before that ended, a couple of things about that book that are really interesting is that one, Omega Red finally kind of got free of the control that he was under by his government, and kind of changing the way that he might go on towards the future. I really hope so. Also, what's interesting kind of about House of X number 6 that deals with Victor Creed, aka Sabretooth, who at the end of, during Weapon X, Creed became I don't want to say full-on hero, but he was definitely on a redemption path. And he really did redeem himself in a lot of ways in the Weapon X storyline by sacrificing his humanity, what he had found. Being part of Weapon X, he sacrificed that part of him to where he went back to being the old Creed to help everyone else. Which is kind of interesting at how then they deal with him. Because, see, I don't think anybody really knows about what he did. There might be a few people out there that might have something to say about what happened to Victor, but I guess they don't really know. So it's one of those really kind of tragic storylines in a way. Not that Victor doesn't deserve a lot of, a lot of things. But anyway, we're going to get into talking about it now. House of X, number 6. Again, I am so happy that Hickman did this because X-Men, like I was slowly but surely finding out since 2016 that it really wasn't that great. But I was in such such dire need that I was reading all of it and not really thinking too hard about whether it was that great or bad until you get to see something really good. It's like suddenly realizing that you were eating hamburger now that you've been served filet mignon. Realizing that everything else I was eating before was trash. And so we have this thing, right, at the beginning where Professor X says, is what we have perfect? No, what is? But it's a start and a good one. Kind of bookended then with what Magneto says, just look at what we have made. Now there's plenty in here that says, this is nice, enjoy it while you can, because that's what I felt like. Because I don't really, I get where people are coming from when they say that the mutants are talking like they're part of a cult. I get it. But I've been such a, I think we needed some shakeup, real shakeup. And I mean by core belief shakeup. I am fine with Professor X talking the way he is about his dream being a lie. Now, does that mean that it's possibly not Professor X then? Like a lot of us have been discussing. Who could this be if it's not Charles? Is it Cassandra Nova? Who knows? Is it the guy, the newest version of Charles called X that I keep talking about from Astonishing X-Men? Is this X person maybe not all Charles? Maybe that's part of something that I need to think about. Because it really is, kind of cemented in here, he's putting to bed his dream. And so many things that seem wrong because of what we've read for years, especially things with Magneto and Charles's relationship, and people like Apocalypse and how they've been doing things forever. It's Sinister and how they've been doing things forever, and they're challenging those beliefs. Can we rise above what we used to be? Can we stick to what we made? And I think that while it's nice, like I said, enjoy it while it lasts, because you can see cracks in the plan, or at least possibilities of where this is going to start going for the X-Men and mutants in general throughout this book. And I kind of feel like we're looking at a little, be careful what be careful that you become what you hate, and also fighting your own nature. For characters like Sinister and Apocalypse, I think it's going to be very hard for them to not be themselves. And I feel like, especially Apocalypse, because what do? He almost feels like what's his purpose if he's not testing mutant kind to force, to rise above. It feels like he's the retired guy. It feels like he's the guy that can be put out to pasture. Because seriously, he's just kind of on the sidelines now, well, now what? You know what I mean? Like he might have said to everybody, like, "Hey, what can I say? We have risen to that peak." It's like I have said, like, what if Wile E. Coyote finally caught the Roadrunner, right? Damn it, my camera just stalled out on me. Sorry, everybody. This thing is not my friend. Um, so I was talking about it, like apocalypse, and now I just kind of lost my train of thought because of that. So I'll have to watch this later and maybe talk about it before. But when we have like Moira and Magneto and Charles in her no space talking about like this is it, there is no turning back from this. What we do now, and having Magneto tell Charles in this that whatever has been there between us over the years, all our disagreements, all the anger at the other's relentless ideology and unyielding persistence, that ends today. You have my word. Now, one thing that troubled me was that smile right there from Charles as he says it and has his hand on his shoulder. Like it could be, maybe that's, who knows, maybe there's something else there. But again, I don't like to I feel like if I look too hard, I'm going to start seeing what I want to see and not what's there. But at this point, Charles talks to the entire world, telling them basically their manifesto. Again, you could kind of say, like the cultist part of this. Saying that they have these drugs, we would have given them to you, but you kept killing us. And now, in order to get these things to make your lives better, demands. And it's like, all I ever wanted was to love you and for you to love us. I love that line. But we wanted to save you, and we did. Many times. But in return, all you did was stand by while evil men killed our children. Over 16 million of them. So there will be no gift, for you have not earned it. We will, however, let you pay for it. In return for two things, we will provide you with the means to have a better life, one without pain or suffering and full of hope. And it will cost you so little. Now, when they're talking about like curing cancer and ALS and Alzheimer's, so I'm already thinking this is going to go bad because, whoa, that turned off. That's weird. Hang on, everybody. I don't know what happened. Wow, okay. I guess we don't really need it. Something has gone kind of sideways on my thing. I don't know what happened. So I feel like making those kind of promises means like, well, we're not curing cancer in real life, right? We're not following kind of like different events that have happened to the world. I'm going to turn this off just to get rid of the distraction. So there's that to me where that's just going to, people are going to probably be like, well, if they have it, why don't we just take it? I feel like that's definitely a possibility. But going back to this, in return for two things, we will provide you with means to have a better life, one without pain, suffering, blah, 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 it will cost you so little. First, you must accept the island of Krakoa as the nation state of all mutants on this planet. We will happily go through the same process as any newly formed nation with the UN, but there is an expectation that our sovereignty will be recognized. Second, all mutants by birth can claim Krakoan citizenship, and with that citizenship we expect a period of amnesty so that those who have been singled out as criminals or punished and imprisoned by humans can overcome man's bias against mutants. From this day forward, mutants will be judged by mutant law, not man's. These are simple demands and they are not negotiable. In return for making our lives better, we will do the same for you. And if you find yourselves asking who are these mutants to think they can dictate terms to us, we are the future and evolutionary inevitability, the Earth's true inheritors. You closed your eyes last night believing this world would be yours forever. That was your dream. And like mine, it was a lie. Here is a new truth. While you slept, the world changed. Now there could be something there. Because again, this does not sound like old Professor X. And while part of me is kind of glad that the dream he had is dead. Because I'll be honest with you. I've been frustrated with Charles's dream. Not, and I don't agree with Magneto's just we're the dominant, we got to do it. There's like this middle road, right, that I feel like they found here in a way. But when he starts talking about how they're the inevitability, they're the inheritors, and then there's this like look on everybody's face and that smile again. Sorry, right there. I do feel like something's rotten in Denmark. For real. And that's just the beginning. There's so much to unpack. And like I said last week, when somebody figured out you could cut and paste everything, there's the names of everybody. But and of the council, and we still have that one black space filled, which I told everybody last week is Kitty Pryde. And that was also brought up by Thinking Critical this week, or in his last video. But we also have the Great Captains, which is Cyclops, Gorgon, Bishop, and Magic. And basically, it says that while the Quiet Council is the recognized ruling authority on Krakoa, when there is a state-related excursion or in times of conflict or war, the Great Captains of Krakoa assume the responsibility of defending the state. In the field, the captain has total control. Among the captains, the captain commander is considered first among equals. And that would be Cyclops as the captain commander. Like head, like general, like brigadier general, like fucking top guy. And so everybody else is like, so in times of like, if they need to defend Krakoa, or if they need to defend mutants somewhere else, or go out into the world to defend themselves, those are the ones that are in charge. Crazy. And then we get the picture there of the council. And they still don't reveal that it's Kitty Pryde in this, which I kind of was like thinking, why didn't they do that? Because we have like next this big meeting, which again, the freaking Pepe Larraz, man, the art in this, I can't believe I doubted that this book might not be amazing. So you got like Krakoa sitting behind, you know, Professor X, Magneto, and Apocalypse. I just love it so much. And in this, we get everybody talking about the family, friends, which is funny. Friends with Emma and Shaw sitting there like, really? Friends? Could there be something there? Again, I don't want to look too hard, but Sebastian Shaw is nobody's friend, okay? And allies. Now, I agree with the part that allies, but I love that, you know, we got Sinister looking like this. We got, you know, Paris sitting there kind of like really listening, and Mystique is just like, which is not a good sign. And then Douglas, release the hounds, big guy. So they bring in Creed, right? They bring in Creed because this is the moment of judgment where they're going to have to prove that they can police their own. And Victor, earlier in the series, is being Victor. And now it's time for them to judge him. And I love this part because he's not having any of it, but he doesn't really realize what he's in for. And I love that that everyone here, like they all kind of have different opinions. I do like what Apocalypse says. Well, they do mention like mutant, non-mutant killing, that should be against the law, but yeah. But then Apocalypse says, how can it be a crime to kill someone who cannot be killed? How will anyone, any of you, know that you are fit and worthy if you are not tested? And, you know, Storm's like, you can't be serious. And Jean's like, oh, I'm sure he is, but we're arguing about the highest of ideals. If the goal is greatness and purpose, and if our undertaking is to have, then I think the opposite would be true. The highest crime would be killing someone who cannot come back. It would be a mutant killing a human. And they go into this, like, Mystique talking about, well, what do they do to us? And Magneto cuts her off, and basically he's like, come on, we'd be talking about war here. That's the old argument of, is it murder if it is done in defense of a nation, and not what we are talking about. Right? Yes, of course. But this is not that. Jean is right. So Magneto's already planning that there's going to be dissent. There's going to be people that say, hey, we're going to try to take this from you. So it's a little bit disconcerting that they're already thinking, like, you know, that there's going to be somebody out there that's going to try to challenge us. They ask for Apocalypse's opinion, and he's just kind of like sitting there again, like, I won't belabor a point that means nothing to me, as man himself does. So they do, like, Victor, like, you know, get all Victor, and Jean and Emma basically mentally shut down to like a British bullying. They also talk about property rights, wealth, currency. Krakoa is alive, not a place. Respect where we live. We need to be able to show where we live respect, and that becomes a thing too. Like rise, you know, like be thusly. Then we talk about Mystique, of course, has to talk about, and she wants Kurt to talk about like what does his God, who he feels is above even Charles, what his thoughts of it are, and his is basically, well, we need to make more mutants, and that's, you know, they couldn't agree more. And that's where we get the part where Professor X says, you know, well, it's time to get ready. And is acting nutty again. Okay. Hopefully we're still recording. So, you know, they all basically condemn Victor to whatever, you know, sentence they're going to give him. And I love, he's just like, you think I'm just going to take this? I'll make it a list and now you're on it. Along with your kids and then their kids, I will make your line extinct. Just typical Creed fashion. Get that one last look, that glint in his eye. Also, make more mutants, murder no man, respect this sacred land is their three, like, kind of basic tenets. And then Krakoa proceeds to send Victor into itself, where he will be, what do they say? They're not killing him because it goes into the resurrection protocols. Instead, this will be your fate. Stasis, deep inside Krakoa, alive but immobile, aware but unable to act on it. And for how long? Forever, Creed. For that is how long mutant justice lasts. Perhaps one day a time might come when you have an opportunity to redeem yourself, but that time is not now, and until it is, you are exiled. So again, I really love this. I feel bad for Creed in a way, but I mean, he's been a bastard a long time. And this is kind of his comeuppance. But by doing this, I feel like this is definitely where we're going to see the other part of Krakoa possibly show up. And Victor is by no means going to be gone forever. I feel like what they did was just create a really, really angry enemy. And I actually kind of really dig this part because when Victor comes back, I think it's going to be freaking amazing. And so we get this celebration here, and everybody kind of looking at it and talking about, like, let's not... And we already know, like, just by the way they're talking, that this is going to go south. But, like, of course it is. But it's the X-Men. It's comic books. But, like I said, enjoy this moment while we can. I myself plan on... When I'm old, I'm going to reread these Hickman books and remember this one brief moment where Professor X and Magneto and everybody got together to do something, and while it's fallible and flawed and going to come down, I'm just enjoying the moment that we have. And so we get like a nice montage, but it's like, it's distasteful. I know this business of running a nation. I pray that we never get used to it, that we never grow cold from it, that we never learn to love it. It's been said that when a parent has a child, they never get a good night's rest again. And they go through this whole thing, and we get to see, you know, a home, a nation, and someday in the future, the world. Mutant dominance. I believe in what we are doing. I believe the world will be better for it, and that is reason enough to carry this burden. In fact, it's more than that. It's reason to celebrate it. And that's when Magneto says, just look at what we have made. And I like this. I really like this. We're seeing everybody. We get Jean and Scott and Wolvie sharing a beer, and Wolverine going up to, I don't know who that is. Please somebody tell me in the comment section he shares a beer with. But then, like here, like again, Apocalypse off to the side, not really a part of it, wondering where his place is in this, which is kind of an interesting perspective for the guy who wants to always take over everything. And that is where we end it. We see the map of Krakoa Atlantic. We see the two spots in the world. We see Krakoa Pacific on the other side. And we get like a legend of the map for where all the different places are: House of X, House of M, Danger Island, The Wild Hunt, Bar Sinister, Hellfire Bay, all that stuff. And that is where we end House of X. And I just can't, I'm going to miss this so much. I wish this was longer, but it's an amazing setup for what's to come. I want to thank everybody for watching these reviews. So if you did like this review, please hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe. If you're not a subscriber, we're about 70 or so away from, we're just about over 70 away from hitting 1,000 subscribers. So any help and support I could get would be much appreciated. But let me know in the comment section, what do you think is going to happen in Powers of 10? I don't know what's going to happen, and then we'll be reviewing all the X-Men books from here on out. And we will be back. I've got I'm going to do kind of a bunch of reviews on some current other books that I've got this week, like Deceased and Absolute Carnage, The Immortal Hulk. We got Doctor Strange number 20. We got Ghost Rider number 1. We got Immortal Hulk number 24 to talk about, and Old Man Quill number 10. We're going to be talking about that one in a separate video. So thanks so much, everybody, for watching. Thanks so much. I hope you guys are enjoying House of X and Powers of 10 as much as I am. I'm pretty sure you are if you're reading it. If you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. But this is Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews saying thanks again, everybody. Keep reading comics, and we'll see you next time. Bye.